our top focus in WION right now is our continuous coverage of the Israel-Hamas war. In the latest, mediators in Egypt made a renewed push for a Gaza ceasefire. But differences remained as fighting raged on Sunday between the Israeli forces and the Hamas militants. The Palestinian territory continues to be gripped by desperate food shortages, and U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris has now called for a proposed 6-week ceasefire deal to be accepted. Kamala Harris also criticized Israel over insufficient aid supply into Gaza. Take a listen.
We saw hungry, desperate people approach aid trucks, simply trying to secure food for their families after weeks of nearly no aid reaching northern Gaza. And they were met with gunfire and chaos. Our hearts break for the victims of that horrific tragedy. And given the immense scale of suffering in Gaza, there must be an immediate ceasefire for at least the next 6 weeks, which is what is currently on the table.
Kamala Harris's comments were the strongest to date by a U.S. administration official on Israel. A U.S. official said that Israel had broadly accepted the deal, which would see a 6-week cessation of hostilities if Hamas agrees to release the most vulnerable hostages. Calling on Hamas to accept the deal, Kamala Harris said it will get the hostages out and also get a significant amount of aid into Gaza. She added that Hamas claims it wants a ceasefire. Well, there is a deal on the table, and as we have said, Hamas needs to agree to that deal. Harris is due to meet Benny Gantz, a centrist member of Israel's war cabinet in Washington, D.C. later today. The former Israeli military chief, a longtime rival of Netanyahu, will also meet White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and Secretary of State Antony Blinken. An official from Netanyahu's far-right Likud party said that Gantz's trip was planned without authorization from the Israeli leader. Speaking to the Associated Press, the official said that Netanyahu had a tough talk with Gantz and told him that the country has just one prime minister. Meanwhile, Egyptian state-linked media reported on Sunday that envoys from US, Qatar and Hamas arrived in Egypt. It marked the latest effort towards a 6-week truce, stepped-up aid supply and the exchange of hostages for Palestinian prisoners. But sticking points remained, including a Hamas demand that Israeli forces should entirely withdraw from the Gaza Strip after almost 5 months of the ongoing devastating war. And Israel, which has so far announced no plans to join the Egypt talks, has demanded Hamas to provide it with a list of 130 remaining captives, including over 30 who are presumed dead. Despite the latest push to halt the fighting sparked by Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel, there was no let-up in Israeli bombing and urban combat in Gaza. Several airstrikes were reported in southern Gaza's Rafah and Kahn Younis. Israel's military announced the death of one more soldier in Gaza, bringing to 246, which is the number killed in the ground operations. In Rehoboth, Israel, there were tears and ceremonial gunshots at the funeral of another soldier, Afik Teri. The Hamas media office reported intense tank shelling in northern Gaza, and the Israeli military said it hit about 50 targets, including underground terrorist infrastructure there.